Hey guys, my name is Alicia Pate from the Laser Lounge at Pate Ranch. And today we're going to do an unboxing of a Galvo laser. You're looking at the Haotian 15-watt UV laser that's steel boxed up and in a crate. So today we're going to go over just what you need to do to get these things out of their boxes and set up. I'm going to show a little bit on the bottom of the screen here where you can go get more information if you're looking to order a machine, and a little bit of a description of what we're doing. So you see 3 boxes here. When you order a Galvo box, you're either going to get 2 or 3 boxes, and largely that depends on how your machine is cooled. This is a water-cooled machine, so it came with this chiller. Some of you are used to having chillers on your gantry machine. So this is a chiller with this one. If it doesn't have a water-cooled system, then it'll be an air-cooled system, and it'll come within your machine here, so you don't need to worry about it. But anyway, so you have that big box here that we're going to open. This is our laser in front of us, and we'll open that. And this right here is our tower. So what we'll do first is we'll do the chiller, and then we'll go through here. Oops, I lost my knife. All right, so our chiller. Let's get this guy open. Chillers are pretty standard. You can even get one of these through Amazon if you need it locally. But if you get a new machine, they send you everything you need to get rolling. Chiller maintenance, for those of you who've never had a chiller before, you want to fill it with distilled water, not tap water. You're not wanting to get mold up in your system. So distilled water, I think you want to get about 2 gallons of what they typically take. I'm pretty sure this is pretty close to that standard. And sometimes you can get these coils. I drop coils in mine that prevent algae. I'm upside down. So I'll try to find another one of those, but some people will put a small amount of bleach in there. Just kind of look at some resources online and see what people are doing. This one looks like it's kind of double wrapped. Get some of this out of here. All right, so we got us a new chiller. I'm gonna move this box. All right, we'll go ahead and take it out. These aren't super heavy, but you may need a second hand if you have one around. In the winter, depending upon where you live and what your environment is, sometimes you have to put antifreeze in these so that you don't have a condition where it freezes up on you, especially for glass tube machines. This is not one of those, but always check with your manufacturer to see what you need to do for maintenance. I'm going to slide it out of the back. This is a typical standard chiller. Looks like we got all right, we got hoses in the bottom, but I'm going to flip this around so you have an idea what this looks like. I'm going to move it. So we've got some hoses. You're going to they gave us one long one, so we're going to cut it. We got a lead in and a lead out. And I'm going to look at this chiller in detail here real quick. This port right here in the front, hopefully you can see this. There's a little cap. This is what you're going to use to fill it with. And sometimes I get a funnel because it's, you know how it is to make a mess. You have an inlet and an outlet on this guy. Hopefully you can see that. And then we also have a measuring system if it's full, normal, or low. I like to keep mine at the top of the green. Power cord, and then the output alarm. Right? Move this. And then I'll look at the front of it. Whoa. Again, not super heavy, but not super light. So we have our LED readout. We're able to adjust. Just from my experience on other lasers, we're able to adjust how cool we want this to be. So those adjustments are there. There's also some alarms built in. And then we have our power switch. I'm going to move some of these boxes. And then we're going to open up the tower. All right, I'm going to take this down. I'll probably leave mine about this location. I like to set mine underneath that machine. That way I kind of have an idea which one goes to which, so that I'm ensuring that I've got the right one on. If I was smart, I'd probably label those. So we also have power cord in here, and there's some plumber's tape to make sure the fittings are all tight and good. We also have our electrical cord. This is probably going to go into the power supply of the machine, but I'm going to check that. All right, next up, this is our tower. This is a big boy, I can tell. I'm used to getting some that are, as you can see, this is my smallest one here. And then I've got some tall ones. So this one looks like it's pretty darn big. And let's open her up. I'm really excited to get this machine rolling. I have two other UVs. I've got a 5 watt. That's the first one I got from Haotian. And then after that, I used it quite a bit. There was another one that I got. My next one was a 10 watt 3D version from them. And it's got a Field-Tech head on it. So it's a little bit different than the normal one they have. The 5 watt, and actually this one too, the 15 watt. There's 5, 15, and a 10 watt 2D version. This is a 2D. They run Lightburn. You can run EasyCAD, but Lightburn also supports it, which is nice. Lightburn is very easy to work, and there's some great features in the Galvo space, and the Galvo support for that. Most of us are running Lightburn just because it's so easy. I'm going to try to open it up so you can see how this comes. The 3D boards, the 3D UVs and fibers, they run a specialty for Haotian. They run a special software called with the Field-Tech heads called Field-Tech. And it's a little bit different. It's not as user-friendly, in my opinion, as Lightburn, but it gets the job done. Okay, so this is our tower. And as expected, it's labeled as a 70 centimeter. I think when you order them, you call it 80, but you can verify that with somebody. Get some of this junk off here. Nice looking tower. It's got a connection on it because there's obviously it comes with a button for up and down. When you're ordering these Galvos, you can get with automatic up and down controls, or there's a crank. One of mine has the crank. I highly suggest the button. I'll show you what one looks like. I don't know if you can see that, but it has an up or down. I'm assuming this is something very similar, the same company. The crank can be a pain if you are trying to do something tall. You sometimes have to get on a little stand. So that's what the tower looks like. And it's kind of a hot mess here. I'm going to move some of this because the next thing we're going to do is open this crate. And I'm actually going to move the table. You saw my room here, you'd be like, whoa, it's a mess. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this laser right here. So I'm going to move some of this out of the way. The area that you typically need, I like these tables. They came from Sam's Club. You can get several different types of tables, but some people will also put them on those rolling carts from Home Depot. Those work well. Take this off here. Our laser in here will come with a bed. It's a grid bed like this, and we'll put it underneath there. But for now, I'm going to move this stuff so I can pull the crate up in front. And I'm going to show where you can go get more information on where I got this one. I'm actually going to take this table down. I'll scooch it out the way. All right, here we go. All right, this is a typical Galvo crate. These aren't super heavy, but you do need two people to move them. I can move them myself, but I put one end, leave one end on the ground, and the other end I'll kind of hoist up. So if you're pretty comfortable at doing that, then go ahead. Otherwise, you might want to wait till you have a second person. Sometimes these crates come from China are either screws or staples. This one's a staple one. One thing to note, once you undo this, most people trash them or burn them. Common courtesy to hammer down the staples so nobody steps on them, because that's no fun. This might be a little bit loud, but let's go ahead and crack it. Not too bad. Sometimes people will keep these boxes for a couple of weeks just to make sure everything is operational and good. Heaven forbid you have to send it back. At least you still got a box. I wouldn't want to have to crate this. All right, looks like in here, first thing, we have our ruler. We're going to need this for doing our focusing, so we'll keep that. Next thing, looks like we got a nice sized bed here. So this is going to go on the bottom, right? So it's got feet on it, and we're going to put that tower on here. So it's going to sit like this. Tower will be here, and it'll sit on the table. So I'm going to go ahead and place it there. So I'm going to, even though I put that tower down, I'm going to move it. Just so you kind of have an idea how this works. For those that have never purchased a Galvo, now I'll have to get in here and put screws underneath here, but I just want you to see. So that's kind of the space that you really need. Let me see if I can get a measurement on that to give you an idea. That's what's nice about Galvo machines, is that you don't have to have a lot of space. You really need, this table is a great size, but 25, I'm going to say 25 by 16 is just the space that you need to put one of these machines down. So as you can see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 machines on 2 tables. So with gantry machines, you need a lot more space. So that's what's kind of nice about Galvo machines. They always give you this nice little report here. This is a test report. I like to keep these. Looks like there's a couple of O-rings in here as well. This just shows that what they tested and what the min maxes were and some other things. So this is always nice to keep with your machines. All right, got lots of packing. Throw that up there, make a mess. Lots of goodies in here. Looks like we got another set of water tubes for our chiller. So we'll decide which one we want to use. I know some people that have gotten machines have had some connection issues and had to go to the store and get different types. Not necessarily this brand, but others. So you might have to go to the store if something doesn't fit up. Oh, this is big. All right, what you'll always get with every Galvo machine is a pair of sunglasses. It's not sunglasses, but they're glasses. So these are safety glasses. And with each different type of Galvo machine, there are three major types. There's, us hobbyist business people use. We use fiber, UV, and CO2. I want to show you something because this is kind of important. Each of these different types of lasers have a different wavelength. Therefore, they have a different type of pair of glasses that will come with each machine. And you need to make sure you're using the right glasses for each one. And I just want to show you why they look different. And so you'll get to where if you have several of these machines, you know what color of lens goes with what. Oops, somebody called me. I'm going to have to mute them. Guess I'll put them on mute. All right, so if you can see here, we got 3 different colors. So this is the CO2. It's usually always pretty darn clear. This is how I always know. I can tell on that one when that comes in. I'm going to mute my phone. Okay, this is the fiber. They're a darker lens. And then you have the UV, which we just got another pair. So it's a lighter lens. Let me put all these 3 together. See if I can get it. See if you can see the difference. So you really want to make sure that you know which lens that you're using for your Galvo when you're firing that thing up. Sometimes I have like two on my head when I'm running multiple machines. So anyway, we got a pair of glasses in here. So a new pair of glasses. These have the UV version. A bundle of looks like hardware, cabling, tools. I'm gonna come closer. This looks like a USB that will go from the machine to our computer. Another USB. I gotta figure out what all these go for. This is a lens cap. You'll want to put that on there to protect your lens. A set of Allen wrenches. We got a power cord. This will go to the back of your lens. So the bigger one's the front, the smaller one is the back. They always send samples of business cards that you can test on. It's like a metal business card. Nice packet of the bed nuts. This is what we'll use for our guides. Couple of guides. These come in handy. They help us keep everything straight and squared up. This is a USB. Don't lose it. This is what probably your settings are on here. Your core files are on here. So we definitely don't want to lose that. What happens too, this is a feedback for improvement for the companies. I mean, you have a laser. Why don't you engrave it? Why don't you put the name of the brand and what laser it is? Because I have a drawer full of like 9 of these for different brands of lasers that I have. And so if I pick it up later, I don't know which is which. So it'd be nice to brand it, or I can brand it. And it's a foot press. I don't know what the word call it, foot press, but I don't keep it on the floor. I keep it up on my desk. And what it allows you to do, you can put a certain code in there and press the button and it'll repeat instead of having to press start every time. So that's kind of nice. All right, so that was in the box. We've got a couple of lenses in here. When you order, they'll ask you, what lenses do you want? I try to tell everybody, get at least a 70 or 100, 200, and a 300. So we have 100, 210, and a 300. And most of you know this, but if you don't, depending on the size lens that you have in the machine, is how wide of an area that you can engrave with that lens. So if I have a 100 millimeter lens, I can engrave my size, max size. It's 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter. If I change my lens and put on a 210 millimeter lens, the size that I can engrave max area now is 210 by 210. And the same case goes for a 300 millimeter lens. I tell people these kind of look like, if you're not used to them, like a Canon camera, like the camera lenses that you put on those big, it's just like this, like a camera lens. And so each one has on the side, it's going to have the F theta and all the information about it. And so you know which lens it is. A couple of tidbits. You cannot take a UV lens and put it in a fiber lens, or take a fiber and put it in CO2. Each one has its own unique type because the wavelength is different. So what I will typically do is I'll take a Sharpie that's like the metal Sharpie color, like the gray, and I'll put on here UV 210 or whatever it is. So it's always something good to do when you first get your stuff in. Because once you start getting a lot of machines, you won't sure which one is which real quickly, unless you look at the side and you know what you got going on. So anyway, we got a couple of lenses. See what this is. Okay, this is nice. These are for, this is just a bed grid. This is just for, I use this for when you're cutting something, so you can engrave and you can cut. But when you're cutting, you want to have an area where the laser can go through and not mar up your bed. And you can also put pins in here to hold stuff still. So this is just a small cutting bed. We'll save this. Okay, looks like what's next is the actual laser itself. The way they come is you'll have what feels like a PC, which is one of these. So it's a PC cable box, but it's the laser. But I like to explain it like that. So I'm going to get one of those boxes out, and then we're actually going to have the source head. So I'm going to take this guy off of this dolly and move it out the way. All right. Oh, scratch my floor. Okay. This is probably best to do when you have another person at home helping you. I don't, but we're going to get it out anyway. So the cable connected to the box is also connected to the laser source, or the top of the head. And so that's why I'm saying it gets a little tricky. And you're going to see here. Surprisingly, that was not very heavy. Some of them are. That was nice. But here we are with this. This is usually heavy. Yep, this one's heavier. Okay. This one we want to be really careful with. This part here is where the galvo head is, and we definitely do not want to damage it. So this is where you're going to start doing your assembly part, but I want to get everything else back out of here before we get to that. The assembly will be in a different video. I got one more thing to unpack. See what this is. Sometimes you'll need two people when you're doing this next phase, but we'll see what I can do because I'm going to do it myself. Okay, this is the up and down controller that I was talking about. I'll show you what it looks like. These are very nice and handy. So just the up and down. All right, so next video we're going to move to will be to assembling this thing. And hopefully we'll get her up and running today.